Dr. Sarah Chen yawned as she stared at the computer screen. It was another late night at the SETI Institute. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence was exciting in theory, but in practice it involved a lot of looking at static. Suddenly, her eyes widened. The static on her screen changed. It formed a pattern. A very clear, very unnatural pattern. "Holy shit," she whispered. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, running every test she could think of to make sure this wasn't a mistake or a hoax. It wasn't. Within an hour, every major observatory on Earth was pointed at the source of the signal. Within 2, the first news vans arrived outside the Institute. By morning, the whole world knew. We are not alone. For 3 days, the signal repeated. Scientists worked around the clock to decode it. World leaders held emergency meetings. Regular people alternated between celebration and panic. On the 4th day, they cracked the code. It wasn't a greeting. It wasn't an invitation to join a galactic community. It was an ultimatum. The message was broadcast on every TV channel, radio station, and internet platform simultaneously. People of Earth, we are the Galactic Empire, rulers of 10,000 worlds. Your planet has been scheduled for integration into our domain. You have 30 Earth days to surrender control of your governments and military forces. Compliance will be rewarded. Resistance will be crushed. This is your only warning. Panic swept across the globe. Riots broke out in major cities. Some people started building bunkers. Others threw end-of-the-world parties. In Washington, D.C., President Maria Alvarez called an emergency meeting of world leaders. For once, old enemies set aside their differences. The threat was too big to face alone. "Ladies and gentlemen," Alvarez said, looking around the room at faces both in person and on screens, "we face the greatest challenge in human history, but I believe we can meet it. We must meet it. The alternative is unthinkable." The Chinese president nodded. "We agree. China commits its full industrial and military might to Earth's defense." Similar pledges came from Russia, India, the European Union, and others. For the first time in history, the entire planet was united against a common foe. But what could they do against an empire that ruled 10,000 worlds? At NASA headquarters, Dr. Chen worked with a global team of scientists and engineers. They analyzed every scrap of data from the alien transmission. The signal came from somewhere in the Orion Arm. She explained to military leaders. "That's our neighborhood of the galaxy. They're close." General Williams frowned. "How close?" "Best guess, a few hundred light years. Far by our standards, but nothing to an empire that size. And their technology level." Dr. Chen sighed. "Far beyond ours. The energy required to send that signal. It's like comparing a candle to the sun." The room fell silent. The task seemed impossible. Then a young engineer spoke up. "But sir, ma'am, they don't know us. They don't know what humans are capable of when our backs are against the wall." General Williams smiled for the first time in days. "Dan right, son. We've got 30 days. Let's make them count." All around the world, factories switched to wartime production. Scientists worked on adapting every technology they could think of for defense. Military recruits trained day and night. In orbit, the International Space Station became a hub for Earth's fledgling space navy. Satellites were weaponized. Every rocket and shuttle was pressed into service. It wasn't much compared to a galactic empire, but it was a start. As the deadline approached, President Alvarez addressed the world. "My fellow humans, in 72 hours, we face our greatest test. An alien empire threatens our freedom, our very existence. They expect us to surrender, to kneel before their power. They don't know us very well, do they?" Cheers erupted from crowds watching around the world. "We are humanity. We've faced extinction before, from ice ages to plagues to our own wars. Every time, we've survived. Every time, we've grown stronger. This is no different. We will fight. We will survive. And we will show this galactic empire that they picked the wrong planet to mess with. As the speech ended, billions looked to the stars, waiting, watching, ready to fight for their home. The galactic empire was coming, but Earth would not go quietly. The battle for humanity's future was about to begin. The United Nations building in New York City buzzed with activity. Security was tight. World leaders from every country arrived in a steady stream. This wasn't a regular meeting. This was humanity's war council. Inside the main hall, President Alvarez stood at the podium. Her face was grim but determined. "We have 25 days left," she said. "Every minute counts. Let's begin." For the next 12 hours, leaders discussed plans, shared resources, and made tough decisions. Old enemies sat side by side, working together. The threat of alien invasion had done what seemed impossible. It united the entire world. In a secure room below, Dr. Chen met with top scientists and military experts. Holographic displays showed Earth's defenses and possible alien attack scenarios. "We've analyzed their message," Dr. Chen explained. "The technology to send it. It's beyond anything we have. But that doesn't mean we're helpless." General Williams nodded. "What do you suggest, Doctor?" Dr. Chen smiled. "We fight smart. We use every trick, every advantage we have. Earth is our home. We know it better than they ever could." Ideas flew around the room. Some were crazy. Some were brilliant. All were considered. "We can use our nuclear weapons as EMPs," a Russian scientist suggested. "Disable their electronics." "Good," said General Williams. "But we'll need more." A Chinese engineer spoke up. "We have thousands of satellites. We can turn them into a defense grid." "And our hackers," added a young woman from Silicon Valley. "We're the best in on Earth. Let's see how alien computers handle Earth viruses." As the meeting went on, a plan began to take shape. It wasn't just about military might. It was about using everything that made humans unique. Meanwhile, in cities and towns across the globe, people came together. Neighbors who never spoke before now worked side by side, building shelters and stockpiling supplies. In London, a group of teenagers used social media to organize a global network of volunteers. They called it Earth's Helpers. Within days, millions joined. In Rio de Janeiro, Samba schools turned their creative skills to making camouflage nets and decoys. The city's carnival spirit was now focused on fooling alien invaders. In Tokyo, anime artists and game developers worked with military strategists. They used their skills to create complex simulations, helping to predict and counter alien tactics. Even in the most remote places, people found ways to help. Bedouin tribes in the Sahara offered their deep knowledge of desert survival. Inuit communities in the Arctic prepared to guard Earth's polar regions. Back in New York, President Alvarez addressed the world again. "My fellow humans, I have incredible news. Today, I saw something I never thought possible. I saw a world truly united. From the largest nations to the smallest villages, everyone is doing their part." She paused, her eyes shining with pride and determination. "The aliens think they're facing a divided planet. They're wrong. They're facing a human race more united than ever before. We are pooling our knowledge, sharing our resources, and combining our strengths." The camera panned across the faces of world leaders standing behind her. Former enemies stood shoulder to shoulder, nodding in agreement. "We are not just preparing for war," Alvarez continued. "We are unlocking humanity's full potential. Every culture, every skill, every bit of knowledge we've gained in our long history. It's all coming together now." She leaned forward, her voice strong and clear. "To the Galactic Empire, I say this. You have no idea what you're up against. You see a small blue planet. We see our home, and we will defend it with everything we have." As her words echoed around the world, humans everywhere felt a surge of hope and determination. In labs and factories, in fields and cities, work continued day and night. New weapons were built, new strategies were planned, and slowly but surely, Earth began to look like a planet ready for war. The aliens were coming, but now humanity was ready to face them together. It was a quiet night at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico. The massive radio telescope dish gleamed under the stars. Inside the control room, a lone technician named Miguel sipped his coffee, watching the screens out of habit rather than hope. Suddenly, a light flashed on the console. Miguel sat up straight, his coffee forgotten. This wasn't the Galactic Empire's signal. This was something new. Within minutes, similar reports came in from radio telescopes around the world. A new message was coming from space, but unlike the Empire's threat, this one was trying to be subtle. Dr. Chen was woken up by an urgent call. She rushed to the makeshift war room in New York, her mind racing. What now? Another threat? A deadline change? As she burst into the room, she found world leaders and top scientists already gathered. General Williams nodded to her. "Doctor, we need you to look at this." On the main screen, a message played out in a strange, swirling script. As they watched, the alien symbols began to shift, transforming into Earth languages. "It's learning," Dr. Chen whispered. "The message is adapting to our languages in real time." Finally, clear words appeared. "People of Earth, we are the Resistance. Like you, we oppose the Galactic Empire. We offer help. If you accept, send a signal to these coordinates. Hurry, the Empire must not know." The room erupted in debate. Was this real? A trap? Their only hope? President Alvarez raised her hand for silence. "Dr. Chen, your opinion." Chen took a deep breath. "The technology to send this message, to make it adapt like this, it's beyond the Empire's abilities. This is something new. Something hopeful." After hours of heated discussion, a decision was made. Earth would take the risk. They needed all the help they could get. 3 days later, in a secret facility deep in the Rockies, the first meeting between humans and their alien allies took place. They called themselves the Arcanides. They looked almost human, except for their silvery skin and large almond-shaped eyes. Their leader, Zar-El, bowed to the Earth delegation. "We have watched your world," Zar-El said, his voice translated by a small device. "Your response to the Empire impressed us. Most planets surrender. You fight. We want to help." Over the next few hours, the Arcanides shared their story. They were once a mighty civilization, until the Empire conquered them centuries ago. Now they led a secret resistance, helping worlds stand against the Empire's expansion. "We cannot fight for you," Zar-El explained. "The Empire watches us closely, but we can give you knowledge, technology, a fighting chance." With that, the Arcanides unveiled their gifts. Plans for energy shields that could protect cities, designs for weapons that could pierce Imperial armor, and most importantly, a detailed breakdown of Imperial battle tactics. Dr. Chen's eyes widened as she scanned the data. This changes everything," she said. But the Arcanides weren't done. They had one more surprise. "We have agents in the Empire's ranks," Zar-El said. "They sent us this." He handed over a small device. "It's the access codes for the Empire's communication network. With this, you can listen to their plans, maybe even feed them false information." General Williams grinned for the first time in weeks. "Now that's what I call an advantage." As the meeting ended, President Alvarez shook Zar-El's hand. "Thank you," she said. "You've given us hope." Zar-El's large eyes seemed to smile. "You gave yourselves hope. We merely gave you tools. Use them well." Over the next few days, Earth's brightest minds worked around the clock to understand and adapt the alien technology. Factories retooled to produce new weapons. Military strategies were rewritten. In a secret lab, Dr. Chen led a team trying to hack into the Empire's network. It was like solving the world's hardest puzzle, with the fate of humanity at stake. Finally, after 3 sleepless days, they broke through. The Empire's messages filled their screens. Battle plans, ship locations, weaknesses. Dr. Chen leaned back in her chair, a tired but triumphant smile on her face. Now, she said, we have a real chance. As news of the breakthrough spread, a new feeling swept across Earth. For the first time since the Empire's threat, people dared to believe, not just in survival, but in victory. The Galactic Empire thought they were facing a primitive world. They had no idea that Earth now had friends in high places. The stage was set for a battle that would shake the galaxy. The day humanity had been dreading finally arrived. Exactly 30 days after their ultimatum, the Galactic Empire's ships appeared in Earth's sky. They came out of nowhere, suddenly filling the atmosphere with massive dark shapes. Their ships looked like giant triangles, blocking out the sun in many cities. People screamed and ran for shelter. This was it. The invasion had begun. In the secret underground command center, President Alvarez stood with General Williams and Dr. Chen. They watched the main screen as hundreds of Empire ships positioned themselves around the globe. They're spreading out, General Williams said, trying to hit everywhere at once. Dr. Chen nodded. Just like the Arcanides warned us, they always start with a show of force. President Alvarez took a deep breath. Then let's show them our force. General, you have a go. General Williams picked up a secure phone. Execute Operation Thunderbolt. All around the world, hidden weapons powered up. These weren't just Earth's best technology. They were Earth's best combined with Arcanide knowledge. As the Empire ships opened their weapon bays, preparing to fire, Earth struck first. From secret bases in every continent, energy beams shot into the sky. They were powered by a mix of nuclear energy and Arcanide tech. The Empire ships, not expecting any resistance, were caught off guard. Several of the Triangle ships exploded in massive fireballs. Others spun out of control, crashing into empty areas pre-selected by Earth's defense teams. In orbit, satellites that looked like space junk suddenly came to life. They fired special missiles that the Arcanides had helped design. These missiles didn't explode. Instead, they attached to Empire ships and started drilling. Inside the command center, everyone cheered as they watched the Imperial fleet thrown into chaos. We bloodied their nose, General Williams said with a grim smile. But Dr. Chen looked worried. They'll regroup quickly. We need to take advantage of this moment. President Alvarez nodded. Agreed. General, launch Phase 2. As the Empire ships tried to recover from the surprise attack, they faced a new threat. Earth's own ships rose from hidden bases. These weren't the clunky rockets of old. Thanks to reverse-engineered alien tech and Arcanide help, humanity now had real spaceships. They were smaller than the Empire's vessels, but faster and more agile. A fierce battle erupted in Earth's orbit. Empire ships, still reeling from the first attack, found themselves hounded by swarms of Earth fighters. The human pilots, trained in simulators based on Arcanide data, flew with incredible skill. Meanwhile, on the ground, a special team led by Captain Sarah Rodriguez had a crucial mission. They needed to capture an intact Empire ship. As a damaged Triangle ship crashed in the Amazon rainforest, Rodriguez and her team were already moving in. They fought through the jungle, racing against Empire rescue teams. After a fierce firefight, Rodriguez's team secured the crashed ship. Empire soldiers, unused to fighting in dense jungles, were no match for Earth's special forces. Command, this is Rodriguez, she radioed in. We've secured the package. Repeat, the ship is ours. Back in the command center, Dr. Chen pumped her fist. Yes, now we can really learn about their technology. The battle raged on for hours. Earth took heavy damage. Several cities were hit by Empire weapons, causing massive destruction. But humanity gave as good as it got. By the time the Empire forces finally retreated, dozens of their ships had been destroyed or captured. It was far from a total victory, but it was something no one had expected. Earth had survived the first attack. As the last Empire ships disappeared from radar, President Alvarez addressed the world. People of Earth, we have won the first battle. The road ahead is long and hard, but we have proven something today. We have shown the galaxy that humanity will not go quietly. We will fight. We will survive. And we will win. Cheers erupted from every corner of the globe. Earth had faced its greatest test and stood firm. The Galactic Empire had underestimated humanity. Now they would learn just how costly that mistake would be. As the dust settled, Dr. Chen and her team prepared to examine the captured Empire ship. The real work was just beginning. The war for Earth's future was far from over, but for the first time, victory seemed possible. In a heavily guarded facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Chen stared at the holographic display of the captured Empire ship. Her team had been working non-stop for days, trying to unravel its secrets. "It's like nothing we've ever seen," she murmured, her eyes darting from one complex system to another. Suddenly, a young engineer named Raj jumped up from his workstation. "Dr. Chen, I think I found something." Everyone gathered around Raj's screen. He pointed to a strange pattern in the ship's power system. "Look at this. It's not random. It's like a rhythm." Dr. Chen's eyes widened. It's not just a rhythm. It's music. As they dug deeper, an incredible discovery emerged. The Empire's technology was based on harmonics, complex patterns of energy that resonated like music. It was beautiful, but it had a weakness. Every melody has a counterpoint, Dr. Chen explained to the world leaders in an emergency meeting. If we can create the right anti-melody, we might be able to disrupt their entire system. President Alvarez leaned forward. "Can we do it?" Dr. Chen nodded, with help from an unexpected source. That source was Lin Wei, a renowned composer from China. Working with engineers and musicians from around the world, Lin began composing what they called the Symphony of Disruption. Meanwhile, in Silicon Valley, a team led by a brilliant hacker known only as Ghost worked on translating the symphony into a computer virus. "It's not just about the code," Ghost explained, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "It's about making the virus adapt, like a living thing. It needs to hear the Empire's systems and respond." As these teams worked, Captain Rodriguez and her special forces trained to use the captured Empire ship. It wasn't easy. The controls were alien, responding more to thought and harmony than physical input. "It's like learning to play an instrument and fly at the same time," Rodriguez grumbled during one frustrating session. But slowly, surely, they began to master it. Human adaptability was proving to be a powerful weapon. Weeks passed. The Empire had retreated to regroup, but everyone knew they would return, stronger than ever. Earth's defenses improved every day. But would it be enough? Finally, after countless sleepless nights and more coffee than seemed humanly possible, they were ready. Dr. Chen, Lin, and Ghost presented their work to a tense room of world leaders and military commanders. "We call it the Harmony Virus," Dr. Chen explained. "Once it enters their systems, it will spread, adapting to each ship's unique melody. Then, at a signal from us, it will activate." "And then?" General Williams asked. Ghost grinned. "And then their systems will go haywire. Ships will lose power, weapons will misfire. It'll be like the worst concert in galactic history." President Alvarez nodded slowly. "It's impressive. But how do we get it into their systems?" That's when Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. "That's where we come in, ma'am. My team will fly the captured ship right into the heart of their fleet. They'll think we're one of them until it's too late." The room fell silent as the weight of the plan sank in. It was audacious, dangerous, and perhaps a little crazy. In other words, it was perfectly human. President Alvarez stood up. "Very well. How soon can we be ready?" "The virus is ready now," Ghost said. "We just need to upload it to the ship." My team can launch within 24 hours, Rodriguez added. Dr. Chen took a deep breath. There's one more thing. The virus. It's not just disruption. Hidden within it is a message, a warning to the Empire and to the galaxy. She pressed a button, and a powerful voice filled the room. We are humanity. We choose freedom. Leave our world in peace or face the consequences. This is your final warning. As the message ended, President Alvarez looked around the room. Well done, all of you. You've given us a chance. Now, let's make it count. As they left the room to make final preparations, Dr. Chen couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Facing an enemy with technology centuries ahead of them, humans had found a solution that was uniquely their own. They had turned science into art, and art into a weapon. The Empire thought they were facing a primitive species. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Human ingenuity was about to shake the stars themselves. The stars twinkled peacefully in the night sky, but Captain Sarah Rodriguez felt anything but peaceful. She sat in the pilot's seat of the captured Empire ship, her hands hovering over the strange, organic-looking controls. Her team of 5 elite soldiers sat behind her, each one tense and ready. This is Trojan Leader, she spoke into her headset. We are go for launch. In the underground command center, President Alvarez, General Williams, and Dr. Chen watched anxiously as the stolen ship rose from its hidden hangar. Godspeed, Trojan team, President Alvarez said softly. As Rodriguez's ship climbed higher, Earth's new defense fleet fell into formation around them. These ships, built with a mix of human innovation and Arcanine technology, were humanity's best hope. Suddenly, space itself seemed to tear open. A massive portal appeared, and out poured the Empire's fleet. There were hundreds of ships, far more than the first attack. Here they come, General Williams growled. Right on schedule. Dr. Chen leaned forward, her eyes glued to the screen. Everything depends on Trojan team now. In space, Rodriguez's ship broke away from Earth's fleet. It flew directly towards the Empire Armada. Her heart pounded as enemy ships loomed closer and closer. This is it, she told her team. Remember your training. We play it cool until we're in position. A tense voice crackled over their radio, an Empire ship hailing them. Rodriguez took a deep breath and responded using the codes they'd cracked. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then the Empire ships parted, letting them through. We're in, Rodriguez whispered. Back on Earth, the command center erupted in quiet cheers. Phase 1 was complete. As Rodriguez's ship glided into the heart of the Empire fleet, Earth's forces engaged the enemy. It was David versus Goliath, Earth's smaller, faster ships darting between the Empire's massive cruisers. In the thick of battle, Ghost's voice came over the secure channel. Trojan Leader, you're in prime position, ready to upload the virus. Rodriguez nodded to her tech expert. Do it. With a few taps, the Harmony virus was released into the Empire's systems. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, chaos erupted. Empire ships began to move erratically. Some fired their weapons randomly, hitting their own fleet. Others simply shut down, drifting lifelessly in space. In the command center, Dr. Chen pumped her fist. It's working. But the battle was far from over. Many Empire ships were still functional, and they fought back fiercely. Earth's fleet took heavy losses, but they pressed the attack. Rodriguez's team had one more job to do. They targeted the Empire's flagship, a massive ship at the center of the fleet. This is for Earth, Rodriguez said as she fired the captured ship's main weapon. The blast hit the flagship's bridge. The giant ship slowly began to list to one side, its systems failing. Across the Empire fleet, a message began to play on every screen and speaker. It was the warning they'd hidden in the virus, now broadcast in 1,000 alien languages. We are humanity. We choose freedom. Leave our world in peace or face the consequences. This is your final warning. The effect was electric. Empire ships began to retreat, first a few, then dozens, then hundreds. In the command center, there was stunned silence. Then General Williams spoke up. "I don't believe it. They're running." Dr. Chen shook her head in amazement. "Not just running. Look." On the screens, they could see escape pods launching from Empire ships. Many of the alien crews were abandoning their posts. President Alvarez stood up, her eyes shining. "Send the order. Push them back. Today, we take back our sky." Earth's fleet surged forward, chasing the retreating Empire ships. Rodriguez's team, their mission complete, turned back towards home. As the last Empire ship fled through the portal, cheers erupted around the world. Humanity had done the impossible. They'd stood against the might of a galactic empire and won. In the command center, President Alvarez addressed the world. "People of Earth, this day will be remembered for generations. We faced extinction, and instead, we found our strength. We are bloodied but unbowed. And we have shown the galaxy that humanity is a force to be reckoned with." As celebrations began around the globe, Dr. Chen turned to General Williams. "It's not over, is it?" The general shook his head. "No, but we've won something more important than a battle. We've won our future." Outside, the sun rose on a new day for Earth. The stars no longer seemed distant and cold, but full of possibilities. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, and the galaxy would never be the same. 1 year had passed since Earth's victory over the Galactic Empire. The planet was a very different place now. Shining cities rose from the ashes of those destroyed in the war. New technologies, born from the fusion of human ingenuity and alien knowledge, were changing life in ways no one could have imagined. But the biggest changes were happening far beyond Earth's atmosphere. Captain Sarah Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the ESS Hope, Earth's first true starship. Through the view screen, she could see a space station unlike anything humans had built before. It was the meeting place of the new Galactic Council, and today was humanity's first day as full members. "Nervous?" asked Dr. Chen, who stood beside her. Rodriguez grinned. "Excited. We've waited a long time for this." As they docked with the station, Rodriguez couldn't help but remember how they got here. After defeating the Empire's invasion, Earth didn't rest on its laurels. Instead, they reached out to the stars. The Arcanides were the first to answer. Then came others, species who had suffered under the Empire's rule and seen hope in humanity's victory. Together, they formed a new alliance, one based on freedom and mutual respect. Now, a year later, representatives from 100 worlds were gathered to officially welcome Earth into the galactic community. As Rodriguez and Dr. Chen entered the Grand Council chamber, they were met with a sight that would have been unbelievable just a year ago. Aliens of all shapes and sizes filled the room. Some looked almost human, others were wildly different, but all turned to watch as the Earth delegation arrived. President Alvarez stepped forward to address the council. Her voice was firm and clear as it carried across the chamber. "Friends, allies, fellow sentients, a year ago, Earth stood alone against a threat that seemed unstoppable. Today, we stand among friends, ready to help build a better future for all." She paused, looking around the room. "We have much to learn, but we also have much to offer. Earth's greatest strength has always been our diversity, our ability to find unity in our differences. We bring that strength to this council." A murmur of approval ran through the crowd. Zar-El, the Arcanide leader who had first helped Earth, spoke next. "The humans have shown us that being less technologically advanced does not mean being lesser. Their creativity, their adaptability, their sheer determination have changed the galaxy. We are honored to call them allies and friends." As the speeches continued, Dr. Chen leaned over to Rodriguez. "Did you ever imagine we'd be here?" she whispered. Rodriguez shook her head. "Never, but I'm glad we are." The ceremony concluded with the signing of the new Galactic Charter. Earth, along with their allies, pledged to defend freedom, promote peace, and explore the universe together. As the Earth delegation prepared to return home, they were approached by a small green alien with large, curious eyes. "Greetings, humans," it said in a musical voice. "I am Siri from a world far from here. We have heard much about Earth. Would you be willing to share your music with us? The song you used to defeat the Empire. It must be wondrous indeed." Dr. Chen smiled. "We'd be happy to. Music has always been one of Earth's greatest treasures. But first, why don't you share some of your music with us?" Siri's eyes lit up. Soon, the sounds of an alien melody filled the air, joined moments later by a human voice singing in harmony. Other aliens gathered around, adding their own unique sounds to the impromptu concert. As Rodriguez watched, she felt a swell of pride and hope. This was what Earth fought for, not just survival, but the chance to be part of something greater, to learn and grow and create together. Back on Earth, people gathered around screens to watch the ceremony. In homes and schools, in rebuilt cities and new settlements, humans looked to the stars with new eyes. The galaxy was no longer a distant, unreachable place. It was their neighborhood, full of new friends to meet, new wonders to explore. As night fell across the planet, many found themselves looking up at the sky. The stars seemed to shine brighter now, full of promise and possibility. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged stronger, wiser, and ready for whatever the universe might bring next. The age of Earth's isolation was over. A new chapter in human history had begun, written in the stars themselves.